Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for another one of Fwip's Build Tours here on the RedCross server. I've got a few things to show you today, and to start off with, we have the Dungeon Tressent. Yes, of the castle, there is nothing left. However, there is the dungeons. Here on this very unassuming little ruin, let's forget the fact that this looks like a weird little cube, because, well, the creative world is a flat land, so the only way to build a dungeon that's subterranean is to start with a big cube. This kind of, yes, locked me into a certain size to start off with, but I think it turned out really well. Why don't we just look inside before I start explaining too much other stuff about what's going on here? All I need to tell you is that if you're building a dungeon, good idea is to start from the top, work your way down, because this is going to be, well, it already has been, world edited in for use. Anyway, we're going to head a bit inside to this ruined dungeon. You kind of get the feel of what this castle looked like before, at least the architecture anyway. But the first thing you notice is, yes, the stairs are a bit broken, aren't they? So any explorer heading in here might either start here or fall down into the pit. Let's actually do that. Fall into the pit. How very weird. Now, this version here has a few changes than the actual one, but I will say right now, they've made me head builder, and that's mostly because this entire dungeon is going to be used for Halloween. Yes, on RedCross, there's a second version of this that has been ported directly into the top of the Nether so that no one can get to it ahead of time and ruin the surprise. Here I am swimming through the dungeons, of course. But in the Halloween dungeon version of this, there are prizes hidden everywhere, which Lord Brandflakes, the King RedCross, is hidden everywhere. It's a great challenge, actually. There's like 3 silk touch pickaxes and some other things. Anyway, throughout this dungeon, you can find little areas like this where, well, inside the chests, you might find some weird assortments of things. But this actually is like a full-fledged dungeon. Like, everything in this makes sense. They've called it a maze, and yes, it is kind of a maze in that some areas are a lot inaccessible compared to others. Like this here is all iron doors. You cannot open this closet, but there is a way. There is a lever somewhere else hidden in the dungeon that will open that. For example, here in lockup storage, you find the tools in which the prisoners were locked away, and some empty chests, but that makes sense, right? And over here, we've got whatever food they might have had for later. In the Halloween version, you're going to enter this dungeon without any tools, without any food, and you'll have to, like, search around to survive. We haven't actually reached the cells yet. I'm going to walk up this little pathway here, which actually, if this wasn't here, it would be impossible to climb back out of the dungeon, funny enough. They have called it a maze. To me, this isn't a maze. I've built mazes before. This is like a couple of slightly inaccessible circles all attached together. So, there's that. Anyway, this is the place where they would eat. All the prisoners, anyway. Nice little furnace port here to keep the room nice and warm. We'll get back to that in a minute. I do have to say, here in the Dungeon Tressent, there are storylines just everywhere. There are written books hidden in chests. I think there's even ones hidden in this version, anyway. You see, you can notice that there are chests in a lot of the cells. The iron doors, how do you get to the one in this room, you might ask? Well, some of the doors cannot be opened, but all the chests can be accessed. For example, I can poke my way in through this chink in the wall. That comes up quite a lot. I really like that technique of you've got to look through the little cracks to be able to open the chests. Reach in through the bars, that kind of thing. However, some areas lower in the deeper cells are so, tricky to get to that you may actually have to be on different floors to get to those chests. So it's very interesting. You might head downwards and then have to head back up, once you realize how to get to them. A little bit of backstory here. The king and the queen's portraits on the walls. Very strange. In the actual Halloween dungeon, this entire area and the bottom floor that I haven't gotten to yet will be filled with zombie spawners. Yes, there will be a quest where you must kill 100 zombies to get prizes. Like I said, also there's silk touch pickaxes. Let's jump across here. Yes, another view of that strange furnace thing we noticed last time. A couple of books. Oh, there's 2 of them. Well, then we'll keep this one. Let's actually read this together. In this cold and frightening place, I'm sure the warmth of the central chimney is a final breath of hope for those contained within this place. Yes, those near the warmer walls seem to have more light in their eyes, or at least more life in the bones. How ironic it is, and that only us wardens know the truth of this place. When they finally find out what happens once their friends let out their final screams, that they are reduced to the fuel that creates that warmth, and that they too will soon have the chance to warm the others. The reality of the horrors just makes me smile. That they have ate, slept, and breathed the heat from the burned bodies, it's like a secret additional form of torture. Signed, Francis Linkman. See, there's little secrets everywhere. I don't need to put that book back. But, oh, by the way, I'm using tripwire hooks to look like shackles. I hope that will make sense to people. But anyway, the idea here is that people that die as victims of torture get burned in the furnaces, and that keeps the place warm. And that should actually make people very unsettled. See, lots of locked iron doors here on this floor. Bit of a cave-in over there. What else can I show you guys? I've been told that this dungeon's amazing. Like, the actual other version, the one we're gonna use for Halloween, that's been kind of edited a lot, is absolutely filled with chests. Like, you're just gonna get a little brief idea of where they all are. And because it's in the nether, we've removed the beds. Because otherwise, the entire bottom floor would explode. More little places here to get through. A lot more bars down here. Do you notice? Everything's a storyline. Everything makes sense. Everything's here for a reason. That's kind of the glory of building in medieval style. You know, or at least in an RP server. Here we have the central furnace where things get burned. And the funny thing is the smoke, more likely, comes over here. I wonder what this broom is for. You know, some of the letters have fallen off the signs. Oh, look at this! Yes, Dead bodies in the ice storage. Oh, yeah. Oh, I bet that was morgue. Yeah, my bad. My bad. This is where all the bodies are stored, right across from the furnace. I love little details like this. This is where you'd be able to get to immediately. Were the stairs in good repair? Of course they're not. That's what makes it a maze. To get down to this level, you've got to go through the others, kind of thing. Interrogation. Funny how it's just a couple of shackles underneath dripping water. The other nice little thing about this bottom area is that it's full of torture chambers. Yes, look around. People getting tied down. Shackles. Oh, how about a wheel? Tie people to, that kind of thing. Let's head inside here. Wonder what we've got here. Oh, how about a rack, you know? More shackles. Something to tie people to, and I guess this is like the Judas cradle. Okay, I'm gonna admit now, I took a lot of, like, inspiration for this place on trying to recreate Amnesia. Everybody does, I guess, when you think about medieval torture areas. It's probably the best point of reference, you know? Something to tie people to and saw them in half. You know, I wouldn't have really got, you know, and you can't really make an Iron Maiden in Minecraft, can you? I haven't tried, because when I looked on Wikipedia, it mentioned that Iron Maidens were perhaps, not actually in existence, but were a myth kind of thing. Flood control, sewer access, a shortcut that can be made if you're playing the dungeon with friends. This will let somebody who falls into the water pit immediately come to the bottom floor. At the same time, it could help your rivals who are also searching the dungeon with you. There aren't ways to PvP in this area. You might actually find splash potions of poison in the other dungeon. You know, the one that's actually going to be used for Halloween, full of chests and vines, actually. It's harder to see around. I know this is probably very dark, but I say redstone torches are the best forms of mood lighting. And if this entire dungeon has actually been, you know, ruined for a long time, it makes sense that it's not well lit. I'm going to tell you right now, there is a storyline behind everything. You can read the diaries of those who died in the cells, perhaps even the people behind their deaths. even some ranting and ravings about what possibly happened, that the entire rest of the castle is gone. That kind of thing. Anyway, it's going to be so much fun on Halloween. I definitely want to record some of that if possible. You know, aside from me doing actual real-life Halloween stuff like being in costume. But I hope you guys like my brief little tour of my dungeon. Let's look at it from the outside. Yes, it is 3 floors, and it was kind of tricky fitting in a third one because of how close it is to the bedrock level. But that really wasn't a problem in the end. I don't know why. I guess I just get lucky fitting things into place. There are some more chambers added in the other version. I'm not going to show that off just for spoilers for Halloween because they're only going to release it then. I think it's only going to open at like 3 o'clock, something like that. It's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. You know, silk touch pickaxes and a heck of a ton of friggin' zombies to kill. Pretty crazy, especially a lot of like RP things like this one. Anyway, we're going to move on to my next build right now. Hello and happy to join me back. I am not putting in a pause in this video. Here we have the monastery on the mountain. Yes, this mountain was custom made by me. World Edit helps a lot with walls, but I have to say, definitely do things by hand when it comes to making things look like they are natural. If you're wondering how to do that, my tip on making things look natural. All right. Look at some actual mountains in Minecraft. Realize how steep slopes and things look. You know, you can have a lot of grass and stone visible, and it still looks nice. And I mean, this looks natural to me, right? Different things. This is actually completely unscalable, except for one way right now, which you should only be able to do once you complete a quest that hasn't been created yet. This is still in the creative build, so it's not in use, but it probably will be as a lovely monastery. Let's look around at this in closer detail. The secret I've found to building in medieval style. Use a lot of stairs. Look at this. The trim is all stairs, just in different squiggly wiggly patterns, and I think that makes it really stand out. Like, if you look at pictures of medieval, like, churches and things, a lot of the time, like, the buildings are square, but people hate square in Minecraft, right? I mean, box houses are the first things to get deleted on any server, because there's no effort involved. But when you use stairs like this, or even alternating patterns like this to give off some real architecture feels. That's where the other effort is involved. Also, make sure to make buildings spacious. I found that in medieval RP servers, just having more room to move around really gets the feel of an area. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with this roof design. It kind of is like my my church over there as far as the top goes. It's different though. You can tell by the different bars going along here. It might work out, right? Let's head down here and we'll have a little tour. I'll pretend to be Monk Rutherford. Yes, here, welcome to the monastery on the mountain, where discipline and self-inner peace are our main concerns in our search for truth. You may sit right here by our lovely little shrine in the water to pray, perhaps, in your own personal way. I love this, though, the little water coming out the sides. I really like how that came out. It's all in the details, guys, I gotta tell you. I mean, don't get intimidated if you're building big builds out there, or if you look at big builds, because I never thought I'd be capable of something like that church. Obviously, right? But if you think of it like smaller things all put together, then it makes more sense about making huge, amazing things, like this, because I think this is pretty amazing anyway. It's even got a little chimney on the side. Anyway, we'll follow this strange little cobblestone path that's been made here, and yes, all the monks grow their own food outside, don't they? Yes, they do. And the funny thing about this church, well, monastery, on the mountain, is that it's been built all around the actual mountain. Yes, the stone here is all here. It's been incorporated into the design because I guess the monks believe in keeping the land pristine to a certain degree, you know, like the rock is sacred and blah, 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 blah. Here we have the nice little area where other people can't really head into. This is where the main monk, what would the main monk's name be? The Grand Poobah Monk. That sounds terrible. Whatever. Anyway, the head guy would stay over here. He'd cook all their food for them. And you wouldn't head back here because, you know, Food is but a temptation in the life of a monk, right? You gotta have the other guy, the head guy, take care of that. And inside this iron place is where you would leave all your personal belongings behind, should you choose a life of monkdom. You know, because you've got to study all the books and personal spiritual journeys and that sort of thing. Anyway, over here we have the magical inner stone. Yeah, it's just glowstone, but let's pretend for a moment that this was a meteorite that they found while they were building the church and monastery. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the church over there. This is the monastery. You're probably wondering how I put redstone torches on top of crafting tables. I'll tell you right now. Try to put a torch on glass and it'll stick to whatever's nearby. That's how I did it. You can do it too. Anyway, you would stand here and pray to the stone if you were sick or something. Only if you got special permissions from this guy, however, you know. Let's call him Monk Rutherford. Yes. Let's give you a nice little tour of our monastery, and you can tell me later if you feel like going on the monk life thing. Inside these unlocked chests, because there's no need for secrecy among monks, is where you may keep your things. You'll also find a complimentary monk robe in here. Yes, let's actually put that on, because I am a monk, and I wear a leather tunic. It's the closest thing to a robe they have in this game, okay? Give me a break. I love spiral staircases when it comes to medieval builds, too. Anyway, we'll just head up here to the second floor of monkdom. I'm going to say monk a lot. Don't take a drink every time I say monk. You will die. Okay. Anyway, up here we have the actual place where the monks would stay. See, you've got your... There's no need for doors. Doors are a thing of the past when it comes to monks. It symbolizes the freedom you now have to pursue your mind and that sort of thing, because monks love truth, and that should be a stair. One moment, everybody. Every detail needs to be perfected in this place. Yes. There we go. That probably got broken when I was putting in the chimney. That's fine. Nice enchanting place. I don't know. It made sense at the time. Small rooms, high ceilings. You can turn off the lamp from up above, funny enough, if you want to. I mean, it's not necessary. It could stay on all the time, but... And there needs to be a light, because if you're studying musty books, like, it'll hurt your eyes like that. It will make you bleed. But yeah, you can flick this lever here, and it'll turn on and off the light for you. Perfect, perfect. Yes. Wouldn't you love to stay in this monastery? It's not like there's anything weird going on. I mean, Monk Rutherford has a bit of a disquieting aura. Disquieting? Let's talk about pronunciation later. My point is this a shady place? I don't know. Seems pretty legit, doesn't it? Nice, lovely monastery. Look at this place. Look how lovely and built it is. Don't you just feel secure and ready to read things? Ah. Thanks a lot for watching this little build tour with me. You know what's funny though, guys? The next build I'm going to show off is still related to this place, and in fact, if you have read any of the texts that are going to be hidden in the Halloween dungeon, or subsequent versions of that one, you'll realize that Rutherford might actually have a strange past. In fact, you might be wondering where all the monks are. He might have, convinced you that many of them have gone on spiritual quests down the mountain, and if they don't come back, well, this is but a stepping stone in one's inner quest, to find some sort of enlightenment, right? My silence here is just... I'm smiling at this lovely, lovely little thing. Picture this, okay? You've gotten... let's say you sit outside the painting for a bit, and all of a sudden... Well... This dispenser would be filled with poison potions, so... Oh, look at that! You've contracted a strange disease on the mountain. Very weird. After a couple of days, it hasn't gotten better, so logically... Just step right here up to this stone and pray for a bit, why don't you? For the purposes of showing you this, let's actually give off something. Let's use this book. Oh, look at that! You've suffered a terrible fate by praying in front of the stone. It's a shame no one will ever hear your cries again. And the next thing I need to show you guys right now, for sake of argument, let's put that pressure plate back there, shall we? Yes. Because he'd be doing this himself. But I want to show you guys this just as a preview of what I'm going to put under the mountain, as well as just the fact that this is beautiful. Isn't this chimney nice? Isn't this perfect? Who would have thought that this chimney is actually concealing the perfect redstone circuit? Yes. Inside the chimney is a pressure plate. Unless you're standing right here. Oops. Unless you're standing on that stair, you do not see that this is actually a cleverly concealed switch. It looks perfect, especially when, for RP reasons, you aren't going to head into this area ever. So, this is like Rutherford has his own secret little area. What does this switch unlock? A ladder downwards. Of course, there's the cage for his victims. What on earth could Flip possibly put inside the mountain? I wonder. Anyway, I thought I'd just show you guys that as far as building a redstone current goes, like, man, pressure plate inside there has to be one of the best concealed pressure plates I've ever come up with. Just randomly, okay? Like, can you can't even figure this out, I bet. Because the grate looks natural. And under the grate is the plate, right? You throw an item down, falls down, gets stuck there, forever leaves this open. Can't get the item back, but hey, it's a switch, right? It's so well concealed. I'm gonna tell you right now, this monastery, which could be a functioning monastery, just like my other builds, it's so nice. Why would I do something else with it? Like my church, right? Originally, I thought I was going to just turn the church into a ruin and then a base for the undead. But it just ended up being such a nice church that it's just going to stay a church. This, however, this monastery is always going to be a front. Yes, something evil is lurking underneath this. I mean, wouldn't you think so? Building it on top of a half-active volcano? I mean, isn't that enough of a hint? Consider that everything in here is here for a reason. And you'll start to think, yeah, maybe this lovely monastery isn't all it's cracked up to be. But I love that. For storyline reasons, it's always good to incorporate storylines into your builds, especially on an RP server, but I just have so much fun with this. And I do have to say, practice placing stairs in different ways. So you see how it'll just make all the walls look more intricate? Like, even this square corner looks different now that the stairs are just facing in different ways. You know? And if these stairs didn't look this good, I wouldn't say that it was finished. I'd keep working at this. But look at this. The top of it kind of looks like a bit of a battlement thing going on. The bottom of it is just perfectly alternating. The sides have variety. And these are just trap doors here next to the windows. I saw somebody else using that, and I thought, hey, why not? Looks good like shutters, you know? And I like that for RP reasons, the mountain is showing through the monastery. I mean, even though it's technically not, you know, a virtuous place, but that's the secret, right? It's the perfect front. It's built in such a way that it could be like a legit monastery. That's what I love about this. Everything, all the details are just there, you know? You got the arches and the furnace, well, and the chimney that's secretly a switch. But it didn't have to be. It could have just been a really nice looking chimney. Right? You got the closets, the doors, everything you'd want in a monastery is here. And as far as the size goes, there just more space is great. I mean, sure, you could have 2 high ceilings, you know? You could only have 3 wide tunnels. But to really get the feel and the atmosphere for role-playing things, I would have to suggest, if you guys are building things, more space like this. This is great. High ceilings are great. You know, they give you more room. And stop thinking of walls as being 1 width. Like, if you start thinking of them as like 2 width or 3 width, that gives you so much more places to put designs. Like on the front of my church, guys, That wall is three thick. Like, I use stairs to show the pattern. Here it's only 2 thick. But that's fine, right? I mean, you can tell all the different patterns that's going on here. On the other side, it's not that intricate. It doesn't have to be, right? It's flat walls. If you wanted something else, you'd make it 3, and then, well, it might get a little bit much, because then you couldn't look out the windows. And if you can't look out windows, then what's the point of them? Right? Effort, well, I mean, everything's easier with creative mode, I do have to say. Alright, sure, sue me on that one. But I thought I'd show you guys just the lovely things I've been building. Like, these walls here are too thick, too, because, you can see the wood through the cobblestone. Little things like that really make a big difference, and it has to be too wide for you to be able to see blocks through other blocks. Just something that you can try to incorporate in your designs, maybe. This is how I've done it here. And thank you very much for joining me again for another episode of Whip showing off his stuff on the RedCross server. You might be wondering, hey, why don't you do more videos? It takes a long time to build these things. Day 1, I built the mountain. Day 2, I built the first floor. Day 3, destroyed the first floor because it was terrible. Built the second floor, the top and the bottom, but the bottom had nothing in it. And today, I finished up the entire design of the first floor, including all of the redstone, more design work on the roof, and that sort of thing. So don't think of it as being a time-limited thing, building. Put the effort and care you think that things need. Make sure everything has a purpose. There's a reason for everything, That's really what it's all about when it comes to role-playing servers and your buildings, I would have to say. In my own experience, of course. This is all just my opinions, guys. I mean, there's probably lots of other people that can tell you what to do. I just want to show you what I do. And if you want to join me on, how to build stuff, go ahead. I don't mind if you guys show off some of the designs I've done. I mean, I don't mind if you, make your walls look the same way. But do remember that the best thing to do is be original. Creativity is tricky when you don't have that many blocks to work with. But I mean, when it's all just... To me right now, I'm just experimenting with different ways to use stairs. Like I said, you use stairs like this, and all of a sudden a wall looks intricate, This looks fine, even though it's only 3 different materials. This entire monastery is almost all stone brick. But, the detail in the stairs and the fact that the middle layer is all different makes this look like a solid building all around, I would have to say. Let's give it one more little flyby just to show you guys the different dimensions and that little thing of what this monastery looks like, and we'll call this an episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all next time. Stay blocky, my friends.